Boys and girls, assorted members of the jury, tables and chairs even, welcome. I welcome you to another game here of Age of Mythology. This is the semi-finals of the Wrath of the Gods Retold Qualifier number 1, day 2. I'm joined with Nakamura RTS, and we have a game for you here in the bottom of the map in the blue color playing Zeranos'. Name is the Rapl.
His opponent on the other side of the map, red color, playing as Hades. This is Kvoth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Wrath of the Gods tournament is actually a $15,000 one, which we wouldn't have been able to put on without Microsoft's support. That's certainly a huge amount of money they're helping us out with. 12,000. The rest of it is being done by ourselves as well as Iron Maiden. So we definitely appreciate the opportunity and hope to see many of your signups in the coming events. But yeah, this is a qualifier, 1 out of 3, and then we do the big main event.
Yeah, every single weekend for the next 3 weekends, there's going to be Age of Mythology. And even the final main event, we've got games going all through the week. So make sure you hit that follow button, both on Nakamura's stream over here at my stream, as well as Yo Desla's and AOL Iron Maiden, so you don't miss any of the action. But Nakamura, it's Hades versus Uranus. We just saw Hades absolutely dominate on this map, but it was against Zeus. What does Uranus have going for him that maybe Zeus doesn't have here?
Okay, you got quite a bit. What? So first off, you can go Oceanus. You immediately get a myth unit in the classical age on the sea. You got a lot of healing potential with the Caladria and the Servant itself. And you can get a little bit of raiding done with Myrmillos potentially in the more exposed areas. Now, I'm assuming that our Hades player is gonna Zom. That the Zom has to happen, right? But then still, that outer woodline looks vulnerable to me. You could get some Myrmillo in there, in my opinion. And then, you know, just getting into the heroic age with Feya, and then getting some birds made with some Caladria support. Now that's an Air Force, and you get those you get those birds healed in no time as well with the burst heal ability. I think that's the potent stuff that Uranus can do. And then you get Cantarius, of course.
Well, yeah, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. There's always this very large concern here that goes on in the back of pretty much every Atlantean player when playing against Greek. It's try to stop that Greek player getting to Athenian hoplites and peltast with roughly heavy upgrades. Now, obviously, if they're at heavy upgrades and you're a champion, you still got the advantage there, but yeah, you have to almost be one step ahead in order to try and find those wins. Now, one thing that we haven't really seen just yet is a Mythic Age god coming through for Atlanteans, which isn't Atlas, isn't named Atlas. There is a different god here for Uranus, which I think does have a lot of oomph, a lot of potential, and that is Hecate, especially when you combine it in with Hyperion, or as you said before, Feya, getting for those Stymphalian birds. There's a nice technology available at the very end here. I'm not going to be able to see exactly what it is, but it basically increases the speed, gets you mythic regeneration. Really nice technology to help you out in that kind of mid to late game while you're trying to get all that damage done. You get that Tartarian gate in, but the gods are coming through. We see Athena, and we do indeed see Oceanus, so no Promethean shenanigans.
Yes, so, okay. Hecate could be really interesting here. Now, you can't do a whole lot of stuff with Tartarian Gate anymore compared to the original game, but it's still got some oomph to it. You can certainly get rid of a fortress and then cause a little bit of havoc with your Tartarian spawns helping out as well, and then you can get your regenerating myth units with that technology. And, you know, actually I like the Lampades themselves as well. Getting a little bit of raiding done with them once they have their speed upgrade, that's actually not too bad. Going after villagers, turning them into chickens and whatnot.
I do love the chickens. That's always a fun one, but Naka, We're seeing the game starting to develop here already. We've got Empyrean Speed coming in nice and early here for the Rapl. He's dropped some military buildings down as well. Military academies, 2 of them, or military barracks, I should say. 2 of them coming down, as 3 of them coming down, excuse me. All he wants is Mermillo. That's it.
Nice. They should make a Christmas song about this. So he could get the serrated swords upgrade as well. That will get them to cause a little bit of bleeding damage to whatever they touch. And it's not the easiest thing as Hades to get access to healing. So most of that would be permanent damage. We also got the Carnivora plus Servant combination on the sea. But the Carnivora was very defensively placed by Rapl, so it probably won't be playing much of a role going forward.
I like the Carnivora placement because it. I like it because it prevents the units from getting through here. He has to like take so much damage from the Carnivora to come and harass onto the back side, and the fishing ships can just pop in and out, so it's all good. But yeah, maybe a little bit more aggressively placed could have been fine as well. But I think the more interesting thing here is Rapl. He's gone frontline heroics. He's going for that serrated blades bite of the shark technology here as well, and he's going to be making a lot of Hero Mermillo moving forward here.
Yes, but unfortunately for him, the Caladria is dead. Ajax sniped her. That should not be happening, considering that she's so much faster than Ajax. But another interesting thing that's happening is that Rapl uses Sky Passage to get up here to that outer gold mine. It's immediately found by Kvoth, and he's bullying it with hoplites right now. If the Sky Passage goes down before the villager escapes, well, then the villager's dead, so maybe a good idea to actually hit that, but he's not looking at it either way. Okay. Saves the villager at the end there. Minotaur has been taken down as well, and Ajax gets chased. Wait, that's a lot of heroes. Whoa.
Yeah, they're really cheap. Right now, they're only sitting at, well, I mean, I say they're really cheap. 85 food, 49 gold is still kind of expensive, but that's the total price, isn't it?
I think that might be total.
30 plus, I can't do the math. It's pretty cheap once you get that frontline heroics tech in. And these things pack a punch. They absolutely trade perfectly fine against hoplites, Toxotes, pretty much everything that the Hades play can build in the classical age.
Yeah, trading against hoplites is a last hit difference, so it doesn't really matter. And the heroes are just better than hoplites, so there's that. Obviously, you're going up against Restoration, and you know, Sarissa kind of gets you to a point where you're equally good as this serrated swords thing. More or less. Great takedown on the
other
dock,
thing
though.
is, though, if you go Hyperion and you already have all these heroes out, we saw this with B, kind of innovated a while back. Going for like mass heroes and then getting frontline heroics. You get like a gigantic amount of regen onto all of your heroes. And obviously it's expensive to get them out, but it's like that classic death ball comp that, you know, if you're just going to play a defensive game and you let the Uranus player sort that out, then and they get a death ball, and then you're like, hang on, Uranus isn't meant to have a death ball, that's cheating. No, they do. They have a death ball, and it's just mass hero army with frontline heroics. What are you going to do about it?
Hippa's pissed. That's going to be the answer, but can we get there? Looks like yes, Kvoth is already going up heroic. As long as he doesn't lose too much of his existing stuff, it should be fine. I mean, he himself destroyed the dock and now is bullying this fishing ship group. But hey, here come the Mermillo, and they're going to show the hoplites who's boss. They outnumber them significantly. And I don't think this is where you want to use real restoration. Wait, the hoplites are actually doing okay.
You just, I mean, he's not going to sack it. There's the restoration. He's going to take it. And now the Mermillo, I mean, he kind of has to just, well, he doesn't have to run, but he kind of has to run. Shockwave coming through there. Going to snipe out the Ajax as the village is going to get up another dock to get those fishing ships back to work. Restoration down here, Naka. I think this is good for Rapl.
It is. It is. Like, sure, you lost a bunch of fishing ships. Sure, a bunch of Mermillo died, but most of them are still here. Hey, where's Galadria? Is she gone? No, she's with the other group.
Galadria. Well, I mean, now we've got a problem for Rapl starting to be concocted here. And that's that, sure, you killed off all those hoplites, but now Kvoth, he's in the heroic age. And the heroic age means Hypaspist. And Mermillos, they don't cut it against those pacifists. In fact, they just get cut.
Yeah. And this is where either Arcus or Contarius come in. But guess what? This is a really good way to deal with the Scylla, having all these heroes out. Unfortunately for them, they're pretty low on health, so the Scylla could actually get some kills herself, but I'm not sure that's gonna happen. There's too many.
Well, I mean, looks like the next movement here, it makes a lot of sense. If you're going to force your opponent into going for like mass Hippaspis to deal with your mass Murmillo heroes, the next move here is, well, what beats those Hippaspists? Why not just go into Contarius here? And you can go mass Murmillo, mass Contarius, and all of a sudden that Peltast Hoplite or Toxotic Hippaspist or just infantry archer army stops making a huge amount of sense here. I mean, I don't know if this is what he's going to go for. Rapl might go for a whole bunch of Arcus here instead, which is another answer to take out those Hippaspis as well. But getting that Thea, getting those Thea upgrades with Poseidon's Secret, Lance of Stone, it's a great way to think about moving forward. And he's getting even more Murmillo heroes.
Whoa. What's the deal here? I don't understand. They're gonna be a little better, but
all the way.
I get it, they're cheap, but why? Hippaspis are gonna shred them.
Wait, do they though? That's the question. Maybe this is part of the idea. Maybe they don't shred them. Maybe because they got so much more HP and they've got so much more damage and they got that bonus damage. We'll have to wait and see. There's still a very large population advantage. She's also playing around Curse here. Curse doesn't work on these units. And the army of Kvoth just gets obliterated here, it seems.
Oh my god, it's an anti-curse play. You're right. That's actually a million IQ. I didn't even think about that for a second. Wow. Very, very nicely done. Although he's not going to have heroic renewal here with Thea, he's safe against curse. And that produces value over time. And the bleeding damage, it by the way stacks against all the targets. Yeah. So if you outnumber the Hippaspis, you should be moderately okay. He's significantly outnumbering them.
That's absolutely true. But here's the thing. Kvoth has his fortress up now on the gold. So he's got, I would say, a little bit of time here to hold, but he needs to get units out. Right now, he's only making Hippaspis. He's got to be somewhat concerned about a transition away from mass heroes or away from mass Murmillos. But at this point, it's just looks like Rapl's just going to heal his units back up with the Caladria. He's going to get himself out a whole bunch of Dryads, and then all of a sudden, those Murmillo have got a bit of a meat shield to fight against those heavy Hippaspis. And I mean, Rapl looks at that army going, should I fight it? I think I can win, but I don't know. Maybe he does know. There's just so many Hippaspis now. The numbers, they're pretty close, but who wins?
This is looking really good to me, boy. You have to constantly retarget those Hippaspis so that they do anything, and meanwhile the Dryads are shredding them. I think these Murmillo are more than happy to take the trade. The pigs transformed are actually the Dryads, and the handful of normal Murmillos that were still around. Rapl is winning this fight still quite decisively.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that, Naka, but the start of that fight there from Rapl, he pulls the Murmillo back, and Kvoth's attack move sends all the Hippaspis to target down Dryads instead of those Murmillo heroes. That was an 1 million IQ micro trick there. Gonna have to steal that one for games moving forward.
That was really, really nice. And you know, with the bird supporting as well now, what are you gonna do? Hippaspis can shoot up. The Fortress can, the Chiron can, sure. That's gonna hurt these birds a lot. But meanwhile, the Murmillos have killed everything. Now the Shades, guess what kills Shades? That's right, heroes. They're Myth units now as well. In the old game, they weren't tagged with anything, but now they are Myth units, so off they go. And off Kvoth goes.
Rapl, he's out. Rapl was, that was just like somewhat strategic genius. Would you go as far as to say that? Like, there was almost nothing that Kvoth wasn't like he played poorly here. He just didn't follow the plan or doesn't follow the strategy of Rapl and figure out the counter fast enough. Sure, he's made a whole bunch of Hapaspis here, but too little too late.
I agree. Like, if maybe he doesn't trickle the fights, you know, build up one death ball and try to fight the Murmillo death ball directly, then I think Kvoth would have had a better chance with all the hoplites alive, with all the Hippospists getting added in, and 3 heroes all at the same time. I think that would have been the way to go, but taking the several smaller fights just didn't work out whatsoever. That wasn't the way to go here.
Yeah, I wonder what, I mean, maybe going in with more like a Toxotes sort of thing, getting a front line of Hapaspis hoplites. Maybe that would have been a way to go, but you're always got to be worried about those 10 dryads coming at you. They're just tanks. You need to get your own heroes out as well. And I guess in that situation, Kvoth just couldn't get it done. And that's 2-1 now for Rapl. We'll move into game number 4 fairly shortly. Thanks for hanging out with us. And here we are, spawning in the left side of the map, currently 2-1 in this best of 5 semifinals for the Wrath of the Gods Retold Qualifier number 1. He's playing his own, and his name is the Rapl.
On the other side, his opponent picking the dark side, playing as Set. This is Kvoth. He's gonna need the dark side.
Baby.
He's on match point, man.
Oh, baby. It is match point. You win this game, you go to the finals. You lose this game, you go to the 3rd, 4th place match. Okay, we got some relics on the map here. We got Fetters of Fenrir down the bottom. A little bit of a boost to villager attack here. If I'm actually playing this as the Odin, I think this relic is actually kind of important because you might be needing to get in that villager fight. Extra 20% might not seem like a lot, but it could be the difference between, you know, winning a fight and losing a fight. There's also Black Lotus here, get that bonus 10% farms. That one is also really good for the defensive Odin, who's going to probably have to build farms fairly early on after being constricted. Got that Text of Imhotep here with the minus 10% build time. Pretty actually good for the Egyptian player who's got that struggle building buildings for the villagers that build a little bit slower than everyone else. And then finally Gugnir, Odin Spear. Fantastic relic for both players who might want to make those these herdmen from the side of the Rapl to deal with maybe some later camel riders or chariot archers or elephants, or potentially the spearmen for Kvoth.
Yes, sir. So there's plenty of opportunity here, and I just want to add about the Fetters of Fenrir relic. You know, villagers often end up defending against siege weapons. This is huge there.
Yeah, that's an insane amount of bonus damage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's not think about it.
It's not 10 anymore. Right. Otherwise, they'll start paying attention.
We have to save. I got to save this strat for the next tournament. Okay.
Hey, we've got the second monument already coming up from Kvoth, so the prophecy is true, and what we described before the game will actually happen. Now, for those of you who are just joining for the game, well, first of all, how dare you? Secondly, yeah, this is all about gadget spam. And then getting your slingers, electron bullets, getting X-Men added as well. And if it's super necessary, then Shadoof. But we'll probably not get around to that. There's plenty of hunt, and the set has the initiative. Should be out there gathering from the good stuff, the hunt.
Yeah, here's the thing though, Naka. That I'm not sure we're going to see it, but I just want to lay the seed just in case. There is a completely different angle, very similar in terms of myth unit spammage, which is just as, if not more effective against Norse. We just haven't really seen it being used because everyone loves the Wadgets so much. And that's Massanubites. And I already saw it happen once today against Kronos. Recon used them to perfection.
About to find out.
Wait, not Recon. Recon suffered against it against Matrius. Matrius used them to perfection. We're not going to see it in this game, however, but, you know, if you want to see some Anubites, they do exist. now the Skipan is in, Freya is in, and that Valkyrie is going to be moving across the map. And this is kind of the moment where, the first sort of moment where there's a little bit of an advantage. If you can catch that Wadjet out, if you can catch a villager out, if you can get that Valkyrie doing something useful here, you can slow down the set player in a big way. But Kvoth here is not wanting to give anything away. Walls are up. Villagers on these berries going to have to get pulled back. There are a little bit of hunt conversions here that he can eat underneath the town center as well, but Kvoth is quickly moving his villagers, making sure he takes no damage, and he's going to be completely fine here.
Yeah, this is absolutely great. So eating the converted animals is just, you know, full-on hunting rate. And the stuff that comes out of the temple, ditto, because these animals don't do a whole lot of damage in combat. They have essentially 0 health. So eating them up is, I think, a very, very valid move. Although you don't want to gather this far away from the town center. Something to watch out for. Vision is going to be used, and we're going to find out where.
So he drops the vision down on the main base of Rapl. He just wants to make sure that Rapl isn't getting away with anything. This is fast second town center shenanigans, maybe a fast villager center somewhere on the map. You do see a forest fire coming through. That's the villagers going to have to move up. This has 2 benefits. One, it opens up the base of Kvoth, but I'm not sure exactly what for. But it also makes those villagers need to move onto a different wood line, and that'll slow down the Wadjet spammage just ever so slightly.
There'll be 2 longhouses, but there's no second great hall yet. So I'm assuming this is in preparation for the spearmen that are going to be made. Not sure if the Valkyrie has seen that, did she?
I don't think... Well, I don't really know if Rapl has really spotted what Kvoth's going for just yet. Like, he doesn't know there's barracks. He doesn't really know what the army composition is, but the standard response here is, I need an answer against Axemen so that my Herser can get in and kill my opponent. And while the micro is incredibly intricate and arguably much harder for one side over the other, the Axemen are very necessary to allow those Herser to get through. If you don't have them, it's going to be tough.
So the spearmen are now looking for some raiding targets. Not sure they will be able to find anything. And also the Raven is around, being a budget Pegasus, there for raider spotting. And funnily enough, Rapl, for the moment, has control over this map.
Yeah, this is the kind of timings that I'm talking about with this matchup, where you get that tiny little bit of an advantage. And at this stage, you can see the population differential is quite close. So if Kvoth does move out onto the map, and you can see him doing this with the spears, and he loses these, this is absolute nightmare here. Is Kvoth, he's going to get collapsed in onto right now. The raiding cavalry on the other side, they might not want to engage because he might take a bit of damage with it, but yeah, he has pushed those spearmen back, but this isn't a problem for Kvoth. He's waiting for that big population lead, which will be coming in. In fact, is he going for a town center? He's got 12 villagers on gold. He might just walk out and grab a second town center here. I haven't seen this as an approach to this matchup very often, but I think that's what he's going for.
I guess this forward town center kind of secures the gold behind it as well as the hunt, so it's not a bad idea. You just gotta be really careful to not get mountain gianted. those cav are gonna get sandwiched. Ouch.
Yeah, that's such a great little pick there for Kvoth here. He's playing this opening really, really nicely, but there is somewhat of a weakness to this, and that's Spearman Wadgets. They simply lose to Herser just flat out. All you got to do is grab Ses Rumnir. I talk about this technology way too much because I just feel like it's the best technology in the game for Norse. But you get Ses Rumnir, and suddenly the Herser actually not only beat the Spearmen, well, not only obviously they beat the Wadgets, but they also beat the Spearmen. In equal resource cost, equal population cost. It's kind of crazy. Nonetheless, we see the Kvoth army poking forward, seeing these units. He needs Axemen. He absolutely needs them.
Yeah, I'm really surprised there's none. I mean, he's already known about the throwing Axemen as well. He's seen them. So Why don't we see Axemen? It's just all Spearmen. The Hersier are getting on top of the Vadgets, and they're not having a very good time with this. Even the Valkyries were helping out a little bit there. But I think the number of Spearmen is high enough to deal with the Hersier themselves for the most part. And then it's all about targeting down the throwing Axemen here.
I mean, this micro here from both players is absolutely superb, but Kvoth sees in the end here that there's just too many Herser, and he's just going to have to retreat back. He's now queuing up from his 2 barracks that he's built here. 8 Axemen.
Wow.
If you ever queue up 8 Axemen into 2 barracks, you know that you need another barracks at the very least. Let's get that production going. Spend them resources.
Yeah, if we're committing to this, then absolutely. It's not like he's saving up for heroic here. This is a pump. So, we talked about this before. It's 3 barracks. That's the target. You might as well make them in the opening after you have the Vadget count where you want it.
Yeah, I mean, now we've got a handful of units out for Kvoth. It's like we saw this before in the fight before. Those Vadget numbers, they got trimmed here. I think he lost maybe 2 or 3, so he could arguably have been on 9 at the moment. And these things, they just pack a punch. They're so disgustingly strong. But now we see the gold mine getting grabbed. Rapl is already out there. In the main base, Rappel's gold is finished. The villagers are going to jump back onto the farms. He's going up through Skadi. The dwarves are going to move forward as well. The walls coming up is absolutely huge. And all of a sudden, Kvoth's angle to get a ridiculous advantage in this game has, in my opinion, evaporated. He's going to push forward, but there's going to be a frost. I mean, I wouldn't even mind going walking woods here. The dwarves are going to move around onto this side as the army comes forward. Rapl does catch that, but there's going to be a long time to break through this wall. And honestly, those dwarves could just move elsewhere.
Hey, your favorite upgrade.
Find over here.
This room there is scheduled.
Yes.
Yes.
He needs it. But it's also good for Goaty as well, right? That it's a fantastic upgrade all around.
Get some both. 15% hit points. That's a lot. It's like Olympian parentage, but you have a lot of heroes. So.
Yeah. But I guess the only problem here for the Rapl is he doesn't have flaming weapons, and this is the big thing that normally the Norse players use to win these fights. It's a huge flaming weapons push and then get in there. But at the moment, Great Hall's coming through, and I imagine we're going to see a lot of Goaty getting built at the moment. Frost Giants coming through as well. Sesrum is now coming in. A Great Hall to block up this position as the army is going to look to come and collapse in onto the bottom side. There's a wall down the south side of the map as an evacuation route to some degree here as well. Kvoth, he doesn't want to push in too far because of how fragile those Wadgets are. He doesn't want to get caught out of position. The thing is, with Frost, he's going to be caught out of position no matter what, unless he's got 50 favor to use on a shifting sands.
Well, there are the predicted Goaty points, and we've also got the double Frost Giant, which I really like to beef this army up a little. You do need a little bit of meat shield for your throwing axemen to do the job, and we certainly have that now.
Yeah, and with Nephthys coming through, those Wadgets are about to get a little bit stronger. Every time you advance an age, there's a little bit of a hidden buff behind it, which boosts the damage, the hit points, and everything, kind of similar to how heroes get a boost as you go through the age. People are just getting pushed off of this gold mine as Rapl says, hey, if you don't want to fight me, I am going to come in and fight you. Population differential is very, very close here. Rapl needs to spend those resources. He's got a lot of resources in the bank here to spend on Goaty, on throwing axemen and everything else. The Wadgets are now in a good spot to get some spits in, and he might be getting caught out here as Rapl charges forward with those Herser onto this position, but the Axemen are now going to be getting a huge amount of damage. The Frost Giants coming through. Can Rapl win this fight is the big question. He's still holding on to that Frost as now the Heroic Age is in for Kvoth with that Ancestors. You can't click Ancestors on this position. The throw and Axemen actually absolutely melt everything on the front as the Goaty are now going to be ruining those Wadgets.
Boyd, I loved the positioning on these throwing axemen. They were right around the gold mine, so every melee unit trying to get in contact with them had to path around them, making them go in a single Congo line. That is not how you want to engage ranged units, so Rapl choosing the fight location here was perfect.
Absolutely perfect indeed. The thrown axeman going to push forward, trying to get more damage here. But in all honesty, when you win a fight in Age of Mythology, any single time in Age of Mythology you want to fight, get further in front. When you're in front, get further ahead. When you're ahead, get further ahead. From our Lord and Savior, Day 9 from way back in the day. I heard it from him first. It might have been Artosis. I don't know. But what does that mean?
Both.
Get a town center,
Yeah.
and now your economy gets gigantic. You get more population to use, put more military buildings down, and we'll just take it into the next stage of the game here.
100%
Rapl
get
is
a
in
hill
an
fort as
insane
well.
position.
So it's a good idea.
Yep.
And Winter Harvest, of course, one of the best food-related upgrades in the game, affecting farming, hunting, herding, and berry bushes. That's crazy, that technology. It's... wow. If only Rapl was making any food units, then it would be great. He's kind of just not doing that.
Yeah, well, we are seeing Kvoth making a little bit of a transition here. And this is what I like to call the... If it's the case that I was seeing the Norse players, Rapl shows how good he's able to deal with those Wadgets. If it's the case that the Wadget strategy stops being good, then you suddenly get these Chariot Archers coming through, and they're another issue in of themselves to deal with. Because these things hit like a truck. They space the thrown axeman at 12 range versus 20 range, so you can kill them really easily. If you've got mass throwing axemen out, you're not going to be able to then build out the raiding cavalry fast enough to kind of get that advantage. And we see Kvoth here behind all of this. He's greedying out. Greedying? Is that a word? He's greedying out. He's greeting out a Mythic Age here. Thoth is coming through.
Well, that can certainly turn the game around when it comes to fighting at Rapl's base. Hopefully, the meteors would be hitting his army, and then also he gets a town center kill. But if there's enough buildings around, there's a very low chance actually of the meteor getting the important kills like the hill fort, like the town center. So I think Rapl is doing the right thing right now. He's ahead, he knows, he's making more villagers behind this than Kvoth. He's already up by 10. And he's denying this gold mine location. That's great stuff together.
The thing that I'm scared of ever so slightly is just the Chariot Archer ball. When you go through Thoth, you get that Valley of the King's Tech. The Chariot Archers get massed up in a crazy way, and then the Egyptian army suddenly, out of nowhere, just hits full population, and the Norse side gets very, very challenging to deal with it if you're not prepared. Now, I'm sure as soon as Rapl sees Thoth come through, he's just going to go like, all right, it's time to start preparing for mass Migdol units. What is he making? We already see the Chariot Archers. Okay, let's slap down a couple more Great Halls. We'll get ourselves that heavy raiding cavalry, and we'll start making mass raiding cavalry to deal with it. I mean, after all is said and done, he's still holding on to Frost. So there's not really anything that can surprise the Rapl moving forward. But I guess the one thing is that you can actually shifting sands away from Frost. So if he misplaces it, you can shifting sands away, and you can.
Which is super fun, because in the older game you couldn't do that.
No. Counterplay on counterplay. This is why shifting sands is the best god power in this game. You can outplay anything with shifting sands.
Well,
anyways, Thoth is now in.
you got a Phoenix.
Kvoth is still one town center. Phoenix is through.
There's plenty of stuff to
Rapl
shoot up, though.
Rapl hasn't placed... Really, he's going for Hill Fort, so he might be like, okay, Huskal. I don't mind Huskal. I think Huskal a perfectly fine unit. The problem with them is it's really hard to mass out enough for them to be effective. But if you're just building raiding cavalry and Huskal, you get both of those units to kind of mesh together well to try and deal with those Chariot Archers. It's not a terrible idea in the slightest. With the Phoenix here, flying overhead of a bunch of Goaty there, immediately going to target those down as the army of Kvoth starting to get going here.
Rapl will be, however, collapsing on this. He's pulling all the boys and the girls. Getting into the fight here. Meteor is used, but so is Frost. Let's see if the town center can be destroyed. Certainly Rapl's army will be safe from that range. But I think one more hit. Oh my god, the villagers. Yikes. Okay, that was a lot of damage, actually. Kind of helping to equalize the game somewhat. And we do have that chariot ball that you were warning about much earlier. 20 chariots, boys, going up against heavy raiding cavalry with there's no shield upgrade on them yet. You really gotta get that as soon as possible at this point.
Yeah, no shield upgrade just yet, but in terms of buildings here for Rapl, that's what I'm worried about. He's got an insane economy. He's got 4 longhouses. He's got 3 great halls now. He's got 2 hill forts. Ancestors gets dropped down as the frost is going to be finishing up. The Huskarls are already on top of those chariot archers for the time being. The Goaty are in to try and snipe down the Scorpion men, but it's looking to me like Kvoth's army is standing incredibly strong through this fight. And now Rapl has to leave here. And he's 40 villages on wood. He needs farms. You got that tech winter harvest. He's got to get those farms out. He's got to get that transition into those raiding cavalry. It can go south so insanely fast when you're playing against Egyptian.
And you know what, Boyd? He froze the Phoenix egg, so that's back too now. No one was around to kill that. That's tough. Because now you have barely any Goldie left. It's very easy to snipe them with the chariots, but the chariots are busy. They're killing the dwarves. They're killing the gatherers as well as the ox carts. This is gonna hurt if you're Rapl. I think we've got a game 5 maybe.
He's gonna get pushed off of all gold mines here. Rapl, technically speaking, he's still in front on villagers, but when you take into account how much value of the Kings gives, that's basically 1,000 resources a minute, which means that that's 20 villages roughly in terms of gather time difference, which means if you're idling 20 villages, you're in front by a huge amount right now, even though he's behind 10 villages in terms of actual stuff. Kvoth now gets that next town center. He's going to be pushing forward here. Catapult, going to be able to take some stuff out on the front. But Rapl, he knows the answer. The answer is simple. It's somehow get out full population raiding cavalry here and take a good fight. That's the answer. But can he manage to do that is the big question.
Well, good news, we're gonna have Rhyme coming in. That's right on top of all these priests. I don't think you're gonna want any frost giants. That's too many priests.
Yeah, I don't know about that one just yet. We're seeing Rapl. He's trying to delay. He's got 11 great halls, 3 placed down at the back. He's building them all over the map. He knows just delay, get himself the units out, and then we can go into a little bit of a different sort of game here, because even if he cleans this army up, we're still going here. This game is not going to be over with Kvoth losing a single army at the moment. In the main base, so that town center is going to be going down very, very quickly here to that catapult as the Berserk's trying to repair it back up. Meanwhile, onto the top side of the map here, the raiding cavalry not quite enough to deal with those chariot archers just yet. The Huskal now going to be coming over as well. Rapl is panicking here in a way. He's going to send those Huskal in, but like they die pretty quickly, and with a bit of shoot and scoot micro, you can actually win this fight here if you're Kvoth, if the Huskals aren't microing either. As in the main fight here, the Thrown Axemen, they are getting some good damage done here. The raiding cavalry are getting through.
It does look like Rapl has got this for the moment. He will survive this battle and get quite a bunch of kills out of it. And also the chariots have been cleaned up by the Huskar on the other side, so maybe there's a little bit of hope. But behind this, the big picture is that Kvoth is on 3 town centers. He's pumping his economy out. He's up by 10 villagers. He's trying to get up a Migdor stronghold up front. Maybe that's not gonna work, sure, but he can just pull back, let the town center do some work, and get a bigger army together.
I guess the problem here is now for Kvoth. He's got the momentum now, but the unit that he's building, I'm not going to say a unit composition because this is not a unit composition. It is a unit. The unit he is building is called Chariot Archer. He doesn't really have a front line. He doesn't really have an answer against a full population raiding cavalry, Huskal sort of army that Rapl is going to be building here. So Rapl can continue to put the pressure on if he can get there. He can also go up and grab this town center. There's also going to be a power spike with Fimbulwinter to come, and You know, someone had 40 villagers on wood once in this game, and it was not Kvoth, but now it is.
That's true. Yeah, guys, don't do this at home.
A balanced economy is balanced life.
We know what Rapl is thinking about this, and now Kvoth.
Yeah, both players going for each other here, but these chariot archers pushing up onto this raid here, it's always risky business raiding with chariot archers because it might seem like it's great because they're technically cavalry units, right? They've got 5 speed, but as soon as the 6.6 speed raiding cavalry come through, then suddenly it's a very different story.
Hey, Boyd. I just want to point out that I think that Norse has chariots as well, but I don't think the ox cart counts. So I'm not sure what that was, but the chariots are eating well today. Hey, both players are 200 population plus, so this could be actually a pretty good fight.
Attention here, the raiding cavalry are going to be able to take out a whole bunch of those chariot archers on the back here. And now Kvoth has to retreat away. He's going to take a huge amount of damage. Those raiding cavalry are having a little bit of challenge to get around onto there. We see a shifting sands come through from Kvoth, and he's retreating where? He's retreating up onto this top position to try and take out those raiding cavalry. And Rapl says, okay, I'm outnumbered here. Let me retreat away. But this means the front base and all the villagers are going to be going down.
Now that is painful. Rapl is starting to equalize the civilian population, and you know, as long as he actually just gets to run away from the top chariots, he can come down here, take down the amygdala and the town center, and potentially retake this whole area. And you know, the addition of the Valkyries, these girls are tanky. I'd even say they're Giga Xerxes. Honestly, the chariots won't be doing too much damage against them. This is a great addition to the army. Wait.
Yeah, and this is one of those advantages of playing as Odin, right? You get that bonus favor income from using Great Hall units, which we honestly haven't been seeing for much of this game. We finally see the Great Hall units coming out in the shape of raiding cavalry, and now we can just spam out myth units to all Billio, and it's fantastic. But the raiding cavalry catapult trying to take down this town center. Rapl does convert some berserks here to get the repairing in as the army comes up, and that's going to be pushing Kvoth back. But the problem here is that Rapl still hasn't got himself up his 3rd town center. He's at 80 villagers. He's behind on villager count. Kvoth is making some decent trades here, trying to push back. And Rappel's taking good trades as well, but he's not able to win this fight on the front. He's only got 120 population.
It's a good defense though, and catapult being down is a huge boon. He will be able to repair this town center back up. Gotta build some more ox carts again, because they all died in the earlier fights. But as long as Rapl can keep the pump going and hold these chariots at bay at least somewhat, he might have a chance to get to the mythic age. It's asking for a lot though, with this population discrepancy. The army of Kvoth is like double.
Yeah, he's got a huge pop advantage, and that's literally all he's got going for him in terms of this army. As soon as Rapl can just get full pop and take a decent fight, and I just keep on saying a decent fight, taking that decent fight is easier said than done. These units will fall, but Rapl, I mean, he's got a huge amount of Great Halls in, but he needs to be pumping those units out, and he's doing a good job of it. He's only got the one hill fort, unfortunately, but every single fight he's taking, it seems like he's only thrown in a handful of population here, so those chariots are just going to be trading incredibly well.
Wow, it's so many of them, Boyd, and at this point they're very highly upgraded as well. But wow, they have bronze shields. Wait, sorry, I got it wrong. They got champion, but they don't have copper, more than copper upgrades. That's unfortunate. You definitely should get that done if you're Kvoth. Maybe he will.
Yeah. And behind all that, we did see Rapl now just going up for his own bronze shield. So his units will be starting to get a little bit more powerful. But yeah, I mean, we keep on saying this. This is just like the problem for Rapl is just income and just getting the resources in to rebuild this army and try and survive. He's doing a great job of it, but this is Kvoth in his element. He is moving the map around. He's fighting on different fronts. He's got that killer instinct, so to speak. Raiding cavalry charging through. They're using that forest to absolute perfection. This choke point is beautiful here for Kvoth. This Rapl now going to send even more units in onto the other side. He's going to get a bit of a surround through, but can he actually end up finishing up all these units, which it's 35 chariots on that position.
Wow, there's 2 catapults now as well, boys. They don't yet have engineers, but I mean, they're more than damaging enough to take this TC down. It's gone. And Rapl just doesn't have what it takes to chew through this massive, massive army of chariots, even though they don't have any other backup than the terrain.
Yeah, and now Kvoth is just going to say, that's my town center. I have built nothing but chariot archers for the past 10 to 15 minutes, and now what are you going to do? Villagers are going to go down on this gold mine. Rappel's going to be out of gold. He doesn't have a trade route started. He's got 400 gold in the bank. He's got a decent amount of food and wood in the bank, but I mean, he's got to sell some food. That's potentially a little bit of gold for a bit, but the wood has already been sold for the time being. Raiding cavalry coming back in yet again to try and take out these chariot archers. And at this point now, it is looking like he's going to get a decent amount of damage. It doesn't seem like the entirety of the army is here for Kvoth, but you know, sooner or later, Kvoth has to go, you know what's good against raiding cavalry? A handful of camel riders.
Yeah, really. I mean, if you're set, I suppose you might as well add in some spearmen right now because there's just no throwing axemen on the field. But yeah, sure, camels would do the trick. And he can print them for cheap from the same fortress that he's been empowering this whole time. Although the economy is starting to get to a point where you don't need to worry about that so much. Mercenaries. There you go. Spearmen, we have spearmen.
Why build camel riders when you can just build mercenary? Hey? That's a front line. The raiding cavalry. It seems like this is going to be the last-ditch effort here for Rapl, but the population for Kvoth is still sitting at 260, as Rapl is going to be obviously very, very disappointed in having to tap out in this game. He had a fantastic position concocted from that early game, but the meteor, the transition into chariot archers caught him by surprise. The macro just slipped up for that little bit too long in this game, wouldn't you say, Nako?
Yeah, I mean, he was holding on to dear life here because I think he just wanted to get straight to the next round and not a game 5. So I understand Rapl, but that was a little bit excessive, maybe. No worries. It's a tournament. It's for the moolah. It's for the points. It's very understandable.
I mean, yeah, it's just a tough position to get thrown into. You get hit with a whole bunch of stuff at once, and this is the point at which I think most top players struggle. And I think everyone struggles because there's just so much going on, and everyone knows that this is the thing that everyone struggles with. So that's what they're trying to do. It's like that mid-game kind of throw something on the left side, throw something on the right side, throw something down the middle, and then your entire economy, macro, mechanics, fundamentals just go out the window as you're just trying to scramble to defend everything. And you know, in those moments, it just kind of goes down the hill. But we've got a game 5, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we want. If anything, that's what we want. So we're going to be moving into it very, very shortly. Hope you're having a fantastic time with us, and we'll see you in the next game. Game number 5, semifinals, Wrath of the Gods. Retold qualifier number 1. You win this game, go into the finals. You lose this game, you go to the 3rd, 4th place round. Either way, these guys have given us an insanely good series. But let's kick it off right now on the top of the map in the blue color, playing as Zeus. His name is the Rapl.
We've also got another Greek player in here, but he's actually from Pakistan. This is Kvoth, playing as Poseidon.
Dun, dun, dun. We have our map. It's Goat's Lake.
Goat's Lake?
Goat's Lake? Goat's Lake, because there's goats in the lake?
Yes. It works. And there's so many of them, and they're all going to Rapl. Wow. Oh my god, and he punishes the scout.
He's out. I can't claim that goat's leg, by the way. I've got to give credit where credit's due. Winston Waffles, shout out. You are the goat of Ghost Lake.
Nice. Better be here. If he catches it after the fact, that's okay.
We've got to discuss this. Already, we have to. It's just important.
What, the goats?
Rapl just used Bolt on a scout. What does that actually mean? Let me know, Naka, what you think. I got my own ideas, but I don't actually know if I'm right or not.
Okay, there's several advantages and problems. One of the advantages is that when he finds the other 3 goats, he will definitely keep them. And that's all the goats, right? There's no more. Oh, no, there's actually 6 goats to grab. So that's a pretty good little advantage. Sorry, that's 8. I'm just finding them around the map all over the place. It's not just on the ice that they spawn, so you do get to look around. There's 10 goats left on the map, Boyd. Okay, that's a really good price to pay for that amount of stuff. Now, let's add that Kvoth has never ended up using his lure so far, which he could definitely do in order to attract some of the goats to his base. But what you actually want to do with your bolt is use it on the second age hero, Atalanta. She costs essentially 270 resources if you account for favor being like 10 regular resources. So that's a huge amount of value, and you actually pay for that, unlike for the myth unit. And then your own 2 heroes will be just bonking the one myth unit that comes out to death. That's the centaur. See, now you don't have that. And Poseidon is on much more even footing, because with lure, you will still be attracting the animals, you will still spawn some chickens. This is not too bad. I think, Boyd,
yes,
it might be not worth it to bolt the hero, the scout against Poseidon specifically.
I think that there are going to be a lot of early game problems that are going to be coming through here. Our scoreboard needs a little bit of updating. I don't know how to get in there. If we have a shout out to any sort of production team behind the scenes, can we get a flipperoonie and a score update to give Kvoth his 2 points? But right now, Kvoth, he is literally he is throwing his relic in the face of Rapl right now. He's like, I got a relic. What are you gonna do about it?
Can't bolt him now. The Titan's treasure, so age ups will be cheaper, including the Titan age. It's pretty good stuff.
Do you think it's ever worth it if you see that relic to try and like alter your build order to get out an early hero so you can get that relic, drop it in, and then you save 40 resources on your own classical age thing? Or is it only ever good to get it for heroic age?
Oh, I'd not bother with that, but when it comes to saving resources with relics and stuff like that, when I see the myth unit costs, when I see the temple upgrade costs, or whatever, the fortress stuff, the town center stuff, all of those, I'm grabbing the relic first. I'm really hungry for relics, really crazy about them, so even if it makes less sense, I'll get it. But not this one.
I don't want to point out anything crazy, but there is a Tusk of the Iron Boar relic on the map. That's kind of important when you're playing against Poseidon, to keep that one away from them, because they might want to build some Hippias in this game.
Yes. And you know, if you get them as Zeus, you can kind of keep up when it comes to the Poseidon bonuses on cavalry. So every little bit counts when it comes to helping against that.
I want to go off on a tangent here, if you'd let me right now.
Sure.
There was a bit of theory crafting I had in the early stages of the game or release of the game, about how this matchup would go, in that both players have to go Hermes because the Centaur is so good. And that just ends up eventually going into the favor of the 5.9 speed Centaur.
Yes.
But as it turns out, Minotaur are actually pretty insane themselves, and arguably the Bull Minotaur is a better Centaur raider than the Centaur. And it just changes the entire dynamic of this matchup, theory crafting wise, and everything. And we're seeing Rapl going to be opening with this. You can go off, you can hit one raid with one bull minotaur, you can get a raid off. You can use it in the army as well to chase down the centaur. It's such a brutal unit to deal with. And I imagine we're just going to see many, many more minotaurs coming out here for Rapl. In fact, he's got one military academy, one temple, and that's all for the moment.
One quick thought on this. I think the centaurs can have the upper hand if they're very well microed individually. So if you have like 4 or 5 centaurs and you drag the one that the minotaur is trying to chase, you will be able to shoot that thing down. Ideally, you wouldn't be using your AoE ability on the minotaurs because that's taking a long time to charge up. But if you just use your single target attacks plus your heroes, I think that pays off in the long run.
Yes, indeed. We are still seeing Kvoth trying to get in with these raids. The Heracles is here. He's going to get one shot. Doesn't get a second shot. Yes, he does. Does he get a third shot? Yes, he does. Centaur down. Tango down. Onto the top side of the map. The armory gets denied. One Hippias goes down. Hoplite's going to be chasing. Obviously, right now, Rapl wants the heroic age because then you get that boost onto his Minotaur even more in terms of how much stats you get. It's all based on the base stats. So 20% bonus damage and HP. That's much better for the Minotaur than it is for any sort of Centaur shenanigans, but it's still good.
That was pretty expensive for taking down an armory, like losing the Centaur, losing a Hippias. Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. He walked past. Did he walk past the relic, or is my Fog of War messing up? No, he took the good one. Oh god, Atalanta has it. Oh god. I like where Kvoth is going with this.
This all of a sudden, why not? All of a sudden, I was going to say, this is all of a sudden, we're just play for Thracian Horses Hippias here, play for Dionysus, play for Tyroi with that relic as well, and you just enjoy it. You know, you get it. It's very rare to get that and be playing Poseidon. But alas, we see Aphrodite. Aphrodite is obviously very, very safe. You get that curse, you get that divine blood, and you get the golden apples as well. Divine blood for the boosted economy and building speed. Golden apples for more favor and all the good stuff there, which does kind of equalize. But Rapl at the moment, against mass Hippias, going mass hoplites, that's just good, right?
It is, especially these Athenian ones. That should be very nice. And bronze itself does last longer than ceasefire, so you can't completely cancel it out. I think it's a good idea overall. But Rapl is very much stuck in his main base. Interesting to see both players just stick into the one base setup, even though there's a gold mine right next to the second TC, but the heroic age gives you a lot of power overall, so all of this is very understandable. It's the dino that I'm a little worried about.
Yeah, this is kind of a scary moment for both players, in all honesty. Both players are sinking a lot of gold into their military, with the Hippias coming through with a very, very high cost of 80 gold, and obviously those Minotaurs coming in. Rapl's only built, I think, one of them thus far, but that's 180 gold apiece. They're going to be losing, or spending all that gold very, very quickly, and they're going to have to move out onto a second gold mine. To me, it looks like Rapl's plan here is a big bronze push to get some sort of a gold staff started. The problem is that if he goes for that, then the Hippias are going to also raid Rapl's gold mine while that's all going on. So both players are going to be in a very, very tough position moving forward in this game.
Kvoth keeps looking for the villagers to maybe leave the base, but they're still happily gathering away. There's 700 gold left in the main gold mine. It's going to be a while until they go out, but when they do, man, does Rapl really need to secure that location, because if he can't, that's going to be ugly.
Well, yeah, the villagers are coming out. The Pegasus here for Rapl, will he notice it? He does see the army, he does see the villagers, and the army will be noticing that Pegasus, or does it? You never know. Did Kvoth see that Rapl is very well aware of what's moving down onto this bottom side or not? If I'm Kvoth right now, I'm thinking, get a fortress up as soon as I possibly can on this spot. to help me survive here. It's vitally important.
It's gonna be a while until he can afford it. And Rapl is just happily building heavy hoplites. Also got a bunch of peltas, which will be a great addition against all these Tuxodis. But what you should worry about right now as Rapl is these free enemy alliance. If their abilities are manually cycled nicely, they can significantly reduce the active time of the enemy armies. So that's something to definitely consider.
Yeah, it's especially if you get Raw of Orthus as well, which boosts that area of effect that it does. I think it's not. Basically, you use the abilities manually first for the first 4 uses, so you just time it, and then as soon as that last one gets used, you can toggle it onto automatic. So as soon as it comes off cooldown, they're going to come in perfect timing to hit the next wave as well. So it's there's some really fun ways to micro it and get a huge amount of advantage. But Pegasus goes down. He's really spotted this gold mine, but at this stage, I guess Rapl's plan is going to be, let's just keep playing. I don't need to go for a crazy all-in. Let me grab my gold mine, sort this out, play a slow game here, get walls up. If Kvoth wants to come and fight me, I've got the stronger stationary army. No speed on the army, basically, but he's going to be able to sit in here. There will be a curse to drop down as Rapl's army is patrolling around, spots those Hippias coming in, and he's going to be able to defend himself here.
Yeah, defending is just fine. Like, these Hippias are not that large in number, but actually a little bit of chomping happening here. But certainly not enough to actually catch them. And there's another group of Hippias that are being sent out. Might be able to get into the base, but there is just a little bit too many buildings around. Maybe they could dive the main. I mean, they are Poseidon Hippias here. They don't have the regeneration yet from Lord of the Horses, so that's something to add still. Once it happens, they can definitely dive that main TC, take out a bunch of villagers, get out again. I think that's good place.
Well, we do see the Hippias still trying to get in, still trying to get raids happening for the time being here. Atalanta coming in to try and cause just a little bit more damage. The villagers are simply going to be having to retreat in. This is the advantage of these Hippias. It's the speed. They can get into the enemy base. They can cause idle time. Kvoth here in his own right, he's still got all these units over here defending himself. So it's not like Rapl can send a little raiding party off to the other side of the map and get anything done. There's a lot of units over here. As the Hippias, they will be getting greeted by a lot of hoplites. And now Kvoth says, all right, made a bit of a misstep. Let me just get out of there.
Yeah, and you know what? Atalanta dying is actually a good thing. Now we can remake her for full health.
Yeah, but you have to ask the question right now. What army is the army you want? Do you want the army with the mobility, or do you want the army with 3 Hydras, 2 Minotaurs, and a whole bunch of Athenian hoplites?
I'm going to be picking option 2, Boyd. This is very straightforward here for Rapl to push in. He's done a great job walling back home as well. It's not quite enough, but hey, the enemy alliance are out of position. They won't be able to defend back home. Is he going to run back or just push on? He's finding some villagers with a second group.
Yeah, he's getting a nice little raid in. This is something Kvoth does so well. Kvoth going to pull back off of the gold mine. This army isn't going to get any value, but what Rapl can do now is he can just go into the main base and kill the town center. If you're not going to defend yourself, the hoplites win that much faster.
23
those enemy lines, as you say, in the main base
hoplites.
of Kvoth, of Rapl, are very strong.
Oh boy, the villagers, they're in so much trouble.
Run for it. Just take the L's. Run for it.
Oh god.
There's so many Hippias here.
There's no way out.
Just run into your base. What are you doing?
Oh, it saved him. The ceasefire. Oh, the counterattack from Rapl is gonna be so brutal. This is not even a base trade. The villagers are happy to stay where they are. And hey, Kvoth pulled everyone home. Wow, that repair is fast, but guess who doesn't have resources? It's Kvoth.
And guess who doesn't have a ceasefire anymore for a bronze?
Yep.
This is gonna... he can't stay. He can't take the fight. You don't even have to click bronze if he's not going to be here. The town center is going to fall immediately, but this will be militia. Bronze gets dropped down, and those Hippias, they basically, there's a curse. The Hippias basically have to run here. The Hoplite's getting pulled over to take the fight. There is going to be 2 towers.
Oh my
Restoration
God.
coming down as well here for the Rapl. He's got all of the power spikes. Both of those Hydra are starting to stack up heads. 3 heads there. Town center goes down, but the militia are now out. Population is still standing strong, however, for Kvoth in this fight.
Wait, boy.
Can he take down all of those myth units, though, is the big question. There's no heroes here.
This is insane. There is a Hippolyta still in the middle of all this, and Atalanta is there. Wait, Theseus is here as well. What is going on? I think the man is kind of winning the fight. Not anymore, though. It's the Hoplites are starting to get on the archers, and as soon as they're deleted, there's just no hope. Those Hippicons were
now
holding their
over,
own.
but the population is so far in front for Rapl after all is said and done. I was totally wrong on the heroes, but the heroes just weren't attacking those myth units. They were just seemingly staying alive. There's still 2 Minotaur left after all is said and done there.
The villagers are finally getting bullied by the Hippeos, but it's too little, too late. They once again walk through another wall. This is an absolute network that he's got back home. I don't think Rapl is worried about losing 3 villagers at this point. He killed the town center. He's killed the entire army. Those Hoplites can do whatever the hell they want.
They absolutely can, but now Rapl has spotted the fortress coming up onto that top position there. Army for Rapl going to be checking around onto the map, trying to find villager kills. Funnily enough, after all of the chaos here, both players are at 45 villagers. These villagers on the in the middle of the map, they do get caught out. Kvoth's still going for kills as the army of Hoplites, they check the gold mine, but they don't see the villagers on the polar bears here as Toxotes and Hoplites kind of getting pushed back. How is the trade situation going? Both players seemingly using this market situation to keep them afloat here as the Hippie is going to be charging back into the main base of the Rapl, still trying to find the kills. This game has gotten absolutely messy and out of control here.
That's how we like it, though. Rapl just can't gather gold. Kvoth is still pumping. I mean, he's got the villager lead, actually, even though Rapl is still making villagers himself. As long as he can keep that balance going. Oh my god, the villagers get found and surrounded by the Hippeos. Can this man turn it around? I think it might be possible, boy, with that rate happening. Oh my god, he doesn't need a town center. That's for noobs.
Yeah, the Hippias raids are just absolutely carving through the Rapple's economy here. And Kvoth, he's got to be thinking about getting that town center back at this point. The army differential here, population-wise, it's in favor of Kvoth as he's managed to find his way. I wouldn't say he's find his way back into this game, but he found an advantage here after everything has kind of calmed down. His town center is going to come back up. He's in front by a handful of villages. Rapl doesn't have a gold mine. Life is difficult here right now. What do you do? Lots of villagers on favor here. There's another restoration available for Kvoth, for Rapl to move forward. You can also make a whole bunch of myth units here as the Hydra are going to start coming through yet again.
I think this
might go after the fortress.
This might be too far gone. It's possible, of course, Kvoth throws away this army, but I think he's paying really good attention. The rates are on point, Boyd. He's not going to waste them. The other villager group killed. Oh my god. 29 villagers for Rapl. This is an absolute disaster right now. The Hippeos are diving the main base as we talked about earlier. Now they have the upgrades. They can get this done for the most part. The fortress is helping to defend against the Hoplite onslaught. At least somewhat. The repair is pretty strong too. But the rest of the Hippeos will be needed to help here.
Yeah, and while fighting underneath this fortress here, I mean, he's got the restoration, which I'm sure he's going to be using as soon as these Hippias come in. There he goes. Just going to keep his army alive for just a little bit, but does it matter when half of these units are Toxotes not really countering anything, and the Hoplite numbers are just so low here. Rapple's army is getting removed from this position, and it looks like Kvoth is going to be walking away or riding away off the back of these ridiculously powerful Tusk of the Iron Boar boosted Hippias in this game.
And that was without Thracian horses, Boyd. Imagine what that could have done. Oh my god. Wow, that was a fight for sure. Now Rapl isn't allowed to gather gold anymore. And the Cav once again gets split into 2 groups to try to bully the villagers away from the mine. This is fantastic. Breaking through the wall won't be much of a problem either for Kvoth. I think he's got this under control now.
Yeah, the Minotaur does get a little poked down there. Atalanta on the back. You're going to get taken down as well. But more units will just keep piling in for Kvoth because he's got an economy. Half of the villagers of Rapl are kind of sitting idle on this gold mine, not able to actually get income in. And even if Kvoth can't win this fight here, he's going to kill all the villagers first.
Yeah, you can remake the army after this. That shouldn't be a huge issue with a nearly 2-to-1 villager advantage. It's kind of nasty, to be honest. Plenty of hoplites around this time for the little group, but there's so much more cav outside of the wall. The villagers are still going down, even though the hoplites are slowly cleaning up. This is so painful, boy. Yeah,
this is I don't even know what to say about this. This is just chaos at its absolute peak. Kvoth here is in front by a ridiculous margin. He's picked off tons of villagers, and Rapl watches this going, how the hell did he lose? How did I lose this matchup is what Rapl has to be thinking there. He found himself a crazy advantage, but Kvoth goes into his element. He plays from behind so well, gets the raids. Rapl, without the fortress down on that gold mine, without the defensive buildings, without crenellations, without any support at home to defend his villages, he just couldn't get any income. And Naka, we've now got ourselves a final here of Kvoth against Recon.
I'm looking forward to that for sure. It's going to be definitely sick. We also got the bronze match, of course. Yes. Looking forward to that as well. We want to thank our MetaPlace website subscribers. Your contribution helps us keep the project sustainable. As we reach higher subscription goals, you are helping us cover more and more behind-the-scenes costs, such as video editing. Check out our subscription page using the link in the description, and remember to collect your perks. We will see you the next time.